Jared was asked to speak in church, and apparently it ended up being a total disaster.
Yeah, everyone in our church is asked to speak, when our church is paid. And so, they'll ask you a couple weeks ahead of time, said, do you mind speaking on this specific Sunday? You can say no, but I've always said yes.
But does part of you want to say no sometimes? Or you're like, no, I just did it.
Well, it was like on New Year's Eve. I was like, not that that mattered, but I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's kind of a weird week.
Yeah.
A lot of people are traveling. I was like, can I just do it different? But anyway, I don't know. It's feel like if you're going to speak every once in a while, I'd rather speak when they're like it's not half empty either.
Yeah,
because you're out of town. But so I go up to speak, and I have Ava, Eli, and Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's there, and I said, "All right," to my daughter Ava, who's 15, and my mom. But to my daughter Ava, I said, when I go up there to speak in front of the entire church, typically what happens when you go to speak, you sit on the stand, what we call it, or the stage.
Okay.
And you're facing the congregation. And so you see, oh, that's who's speaking this week. It's in the bulletin. But I was like, I'm going to sit with the family because Ezra is attached at my hip. And if I'm on the stage, he's going to be on the stage with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Ava, if he wants to go up with me or whatever, make sure you just take him out and you can go to this room. You can listen to it if you want or not. But she said, okay, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had already taken him out as a precaution. She already took him out. He's in the hallway. So I'm like, all right, this is working out good. And I got called up earlier than I thought I was going to get called up. I mean, it's in the program, but it just happened a lot faster.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm walking up, little to Ava's information and knowledge, they just happen to be walking back into the chapel.
Oh.
So as I'm walking up, which is, it's probably 100 feet to walk up to, to pulpit, I just hear, Dad!
Oh, gosh.
Dad! And I can't do a 3-year-old voice, but he freaked out, runs to me and and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do here?
Ava, get him.
I don't know.
And then Ava's trying to run, and then Ava goes to get him. He goes, Ezra goes, no, Daddy, no. And so the whole church is already looking at me. My face is already red.
We know you're already sweating.
Definitely sweating.
Definitely sweating.
Definitely sweating. And so I'm like, all right. And I just walk up to the pulpit, and he just kind of is standing to the left of me.
Okay.
Where he people can see maybe his eyes over this little barrier, with the stage. They can see his eyes. And then the pulpit, it's a pulpit and it has two sides a little bit lower. Kind of like, when you win the Olympic gold medal, there's the pulpit for the gold.
Sure.
And then, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing it and, I kind of try to make a joke about it. And I'm kind of flustered because my son is literally standing and pulling on my leg the entire time.
I don't know how you wouldn't be flustered.
And I'm talking about love thy neighbor. And I'm like, I don't know.
Could you have said at this point, hey, can the next person go? And I will go after that person until get everything organized here.
In hindsight.
Hindsight.
I'm
Always 2020.
But let me get to that point. So I'm speaking in church, and I'm supposed to speak 12 to 15 minutes, right? No problem. For me, I enjoy public speaking, so whatever. And I do have. I'm prepared. I'm ready. All the stuff. And so I have my notes and everything up there. And then he's like, "Daddy up, Daddy up."
Oh boy.
And I'm like, oh. I go, hold on 1 second. I'm in the middle of talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
Probably God.
The Lord.
I'm like, am I saying something about the Good Samaritan at some point? I'm like, hold on 1 second.
He might be at this point. He doesn't know.
I have no idea. It's like, when something's over, and you're like, what happened?
You black out.
Right.
Oh, you black out big time. Yes.
And so then I pick him up and put him up on the pulpit, basically. He's sitting on the pulpit, but facing away from the people.
Facing you.
Facing me, and I'm looking out the audience. He's kind of looking at the side of my face.
Uh-huh.
And I'm patting him on his
So anyway, obey your father and mother.
And I was like, people are going through things that you don't know. You know, there's unseen things. There's people that have difficulties that are seen. And then while I'm saying, he's like, Daddy, what's that? And pointing to the microphone.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, and I'm looking at people, and they're being understanding. At least I think so. And then I'm stopping in the middle of a sentence to be like, it's a microphone. I said, all right, Ezra, I love you. And then he starts grabbing the microphone while I'm trying to talk.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Did you take him at that point and just throw him back into the audience? Physically launch him at
What
Ava?
is this?
Why was it you couldn't get Ava to get him?
Well, and then so that exactly. So I was trying to get through the talk. I'm making jokes about it. I'm trying to be like, hey, because I'm in a different congregation than I just was. It's based on location, but I'm back in the ward that I've been in forever. The ones y'all been to.
So everybody knows you.
The Guilford ward. And I said, maybe I should have stayed in the other one, and people started laughing and said, maybe it's the clue that I shouldn't be speaking today. I was trying to make jokes about it. And then at one point I looked up and I said, this is a sign that I should stop talking. And there's a guy in the back that I know, and he was doing like the keep going, just keep going.
Oh, he was.
He's
That's not to wrap it up.
No, he did like, I'm sorry, he did like this.
Okay.
He did like the keep going. Just no, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in charge of that. There's nobody that does that. There's no light or anything for people to stop talking
You
or
get a
whatever.
red light in the back. Like flashing a flashlight.
He's like kind of give me a thumbs up, like go for it.
Better than like the shepherd's hook pulling you off.
I wish there was.
Yeah.
I would have been gladly taking whiplash with a hook off the thing. And I actually enjoy public speaking, so I was a little bit, but whatever. And so I'm like, Ava, I'm like talking to I'm like, Ava, can you come up? And so then I'm trying to, and he's like kind of being okay, but he's sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he grabs my paper and my notes, and I'm like, and he's like, Daddy, and he's like in a good mood. So I'm like, and I'm like yanking the paper away from my son while trying to speak in the middle of a sentence, which I don't know what I'm talking about at this point.
There's tug of war.
Losing my place. Did I already say this
that.
once? And then Ava comes up and she goes to get him, and he screams,
Oh no!
bloody murder. And so then she sits down behind me, facing him.
Oh gosh!
And then at one point, one of the leaders of the church, and he's actually one of my friends, he's in some leadership, Mike Wilkinson, I didn't know this, but he's like, hey, man, can you
Just take him.
just
Take him.
bite the bullet? And so I'm in the middle of, I'm probably like,
So like the screaming like down the aisle on the way out.
yeah, so I'm like, yes, I'm 75%.
Just go.
And I even said, is my face really red? And people were like, ha, 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 and like nodding. I
Yes.
said, am I sweating now? And then Ava, I just like a blur. She's wearing like a yellow dress. Wham, got him. He's screaming, yes, bloody murder, all the way down from the front.
Yeah.
There's no doors to the sides. You'd have to go outside. She
We've
went
heard
all
that
the way
sound
down.
before.
Daddy!
No. And so then I'm like shell shocked.
Shell shock.
Do I start over?
Yeah, what have I said? Does this even make sense? Does it even matter at this point? I've never wanted to quit ever in the middle of church speaking, like just finishing it. I've never had an opportunity, maybe something didn't go perfectly, but I was just like, this is terrible. And I was like, Good Samaritan, right? I just made a joke. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I just said
Samaritan.
I said,
His daughter.
I'm like,
Am I right?
Am I right, Good Samaritan?
Am I right?
Yeah.
Then I had then I remember, I do have a little thing that the Good Samaritan said about, taking care of somebody, like gave money, said, make sure you take care of him. Then I went into the whole thing about how we could take care of our neighbors and love everyone, and everyone's our neighbor. And then it wrapped up, and then instead of sitting back down on the stage, I just went out, got Ezra, and I just sat in a room staring at the wall for the next 30 minutes.
I'll be leaving now.
Then afterwards, you were like, "That was your talk." We call them talks, sermons, whatever. Said your talk was really good. I said, "You don't need to be lying in
Was
church."
that a sympathy?
I said, and you know me, I'll just say it. I was like, I appreciate the sympathy and the kind words, but you really. I thought it was sweet that you were, being patient with your son and stuff. So, well, I'm glad you thought I was sweet.
We're like,
but,
let's not do
Let's
this.
not.
It's a waste of everyone's time.
See the butt whooping he's
Yeah.
gonna get when we get home.
And he doesn't know anything. He didn't know, and so it's like the only thing I like, and I think Jason's a big believer in this, is that it'll probably be my most memorable speech, and it has nothing to do with anything I said or prepared.
There's that. That's
Nice.
true. I mean, that's a very
It's probably more
Embrace it,
entertaining
yeah.
than a lot
yeah.
than a lot of speeches.
That's
or
a
talks
mature
at church.
way
Yeah.
of looking at that, though,
Because
because
I'm not really mad at him. He's 3. I'm not mad. I can't be mad. He
that's
doesn't know. If he was 4 or 5, I would.
Katie's shoulder yelled at him and smacked him.
No, I didn't yell at him or anything. He doesn't know. Like, what am I going to say? I was like, he doesn't understand. There's nothing I can say like, well, Daddy prepared this speech, and we're talking about love thy neighbor, and then in Romans, he's like, what? He doesn't know what I'm talking about.
You know who you could be mad at, though, if you wanted? Ava.
Ava.
I know, but she's so good. And I said, Ava, she said, I know. I had him in the hallway, and I thought that you weren't going to be speaking yet, so we were walking back in, and it was too late. And then when he started screaming bloody murder, she tapped out. I get it.
Yeah.
She tried.
She's
but-
only 15. What's
Right.
she going to do?
And then my mom was trying to like run after, and she can't. She's 67. She's in good health, but she has bad. I'm like, no, I don't want
Yeah.
people getting hurt chasing a 3-year-old he will run the entire time during church.
Maybe next time you just leave him in the car.
I said I was going to say.
Put the windows
could
down,
put the
give him a
window-
snack.
yeah.
He's fine.
I did tell my friend Mike Wilkinson. I said, yeah, it was a cool day.
Cheerios are fine.
I did tell my friend Mike. I said, I'm divorced, right? I said I have a custody schedule. I don't have him every Sunday. I don't have the kids. Let's just schedule on a week, and I'll tell you next time. Like I can speak, but let's do it when the
That's a
kids,
good
the
idea.
kids
Yeah.
aren't there,
Mhm.
or at least till Ezra's older.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could just say from now on, let me check my calendar.
Oh, and my son Eli, who's 12, didn't lift a finger.
Oh,
forgot
heck
he's an
no.
I think
he
he,
was
I think he was
laughing the whole time.
enjoying the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Probably TikToking it, you know?
I would
Probably.
have been. Yeah.
The film dad.
Bruh, that was rough, bro.
What a
Bruh.
simp.
Bro, that was,
wackest talk ever.
yeah, dude. Dude, that talk didn't smack or slap or nothing. That was so lame,
Snooze
bro.
fest.
Next time you get asked to talk, you know he's going to bring it up. Like, oh, is it going to go like last time?
Yeah.
Bruh. Anyway,
Okay.
good times.
Good Samaritan, am I right?
Am I right?
Am I
That's what I
right?
said. I did it like as a joke. It's like, good Samaritan, am
Am
I
I
right?
right?
And
Am I
you're-
right?
And you were like, ha, 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 ha.